Hi guys, and welcome to your very first tutorial from Shimmy Wild / Ellie Tennyson. What I'm going to teach you today is how to take self-portraits using your camera's timer function. Now, a lot of people take photos where they hold the camera themselves and press the shutter button. It gets your arm in the shot and it gives you very awkward angles to work with, and it's also really heavy, so chances are blur, out of focus, they're not going to be working for you in this. Now, what you're going to need for this tutorial are camera, of course, preferably with a timer function, and also a switch that you can change between autofocus and manual focus. You'll also need a tripod or something very sturdy to keep your camera on. The last thing you want is to knock your camera just as you're about to run back to the shot. It just knocks everything out of focus. You'll also need a clean backdrop. If you're doing this for stock photography, or stock art as some people call it, you'll need to have something where the artist can crop you out of the background very easily. So something like what I've got behind me, which is my grey backdrop, perfect for that sort of thing. Now, to start off, what we're going to do is learn a bit more about our cameras. Now, mine's a Canon EOS 30D, so it's a bit more pricey than some of the cameras that you can get where it autofocuses things for you. The flash is automatic if you need it, that sort of thing. I switched up because I wanted to have something with a little bit more variety, and I can change the settings as I please. So what you're going to do is start off on the autofocus if you're unco like me and you can't focus properly yourself. So just the switch there, autofocus, which you can find on the lens of a camera of like this one. Switch on to autofocus, and turning it on first would be a good idea. You go to the drive ISO button, which is where you set your camera's ISO speed, which is that there. Unfortunately upside down. You can also see the little stopwatch, which is over here. That's the timer. Okay? Now, my camera has 4 settings. Other cameras will have more or less, depending on what style, what model, what make they are, just like a car. I can do single shot, which is self-explanatory, consecutive shot, which is also self-explanatory. The longer you hold the button down, the more photos it takes. High speed consecutive, which is for something like motorsports. You just want to hold the button down as the car zooms past. It takes the shutter speed to an obscene level. And you also have the timer, which is the little stopwatch, which is fantastic for people that don't have their own photographer to take photos of them, like me and a lot of other stock artists out there. So starting off on the timer setting, autofocus, put it on the tripod, ready to go. Put the placeholder where you are going to stand. Okay, so I use my little telephone table. I'm going to put it there on the backdrop. I'm going to put a thumbtack or sticky tape, blue tack, a little X to mark the spot wherever I'm going to stand, where the placeholder is. That'll save you a lot of time later thinking, oh, was I an inch or a foot to that side, or was I more over that side, or was I closer to the camera? Which will all those things will throw the shot out of focus. So mark somewhere that's not too obvious on the backdrop where you're going to be standing. So placeholders there, ready to go. Great, fantastic. Focus with the autofocus setting on the placeholder. My telephone stand comes up to about waist height, which is perfect if I'm going to be standing at my full height. If I wanted to do something where I was crouching down low, I'd lower the tripod and get something a bit lower as my placeholder, so it'll keep everything in proportion. If I'm going to be doing something where the perspectives are a lot stranger, like the camera's on the ground and I'm standing up to my full height, I want to have a placeholder that is as high as my head, so it will focus on my face. If I'm doing it the opposite direction, I'm going to be laying down where the camera's above head. I want something where the placeholder is very low, so it can focus on there. It's not going to be focusing too far in front of me or too far back. So you really need to find a placeholder that will be at the point of focus and the point of zoom where you need it to be. So next step is to actually start taking the photos. Once it's on timer setting, you've got it on autofocus, take a practice shot of your placeholder so you know that the zoom's right. You don't need to change it or anything like that. So it leaves you enough room above your head. Since the placeholder is at waist height, you need to leave enough room above your head to actually be able to get your full body in the shot. Same thing goes with portraits and all that sort of thing. So next step, once it's focused properly, switch it back to manual focus. This will lock the focus. If you leave it on auto and you try and you zoom on something, okay, focused, fantastic, move the placeholder, press the shutter button, it starts to refocus. Okay, bad idea. Remember, once it's focused, switch back to manual. It will lock the focus. Okay, take some practice shots, you're ready to go. Anyway, hope that helps out. See you next time.